Beloved child, stay with me. Do not look away. Do not let your thumb move. Do not leave this moment, because I have come close to you now, closer than you realize. I am speaking to you gently, but urgently, as a mother speaks to the one child she has drawn aside from the crowd. You are not here by chance. You did not stumble into these words. You were drawn, chosen, called into this quiet space where my voice can reach you without noise, without fear, without confusion. I know your heart. I have watched you carry questions you rarely speak aloud. I have seen the moments when you felt misunderstood, when you felt unseen, when you wondered why the path felt heavier for you than for others. I have been near you in those hours, when your strength seemed thin and your prayers felt like whispers that barely left your lips. And still, heaven heard you. Still, you were held. Listen to me now. The times ahead will require a steady heart and a listening spirit. Many will rush, many will react, many will grow weary and distracted. But you, my child, are being invited to remain awake, to stay rooted, to stay soft where the world tries to harden you, to stay faithful where pressure tries to pull you away. I speak to you as a mother who has known sorrow and joy, waiting and fulfillment, silence and divine promise. I know what it is to hold words from heaven in my heart while the world around me does not yet understand. I know what it is to trust when there is no visible proof, only assurance placed gently within the soul. And I tell you this so you will know that what you are walking through is not wasted. It is forming you. In the days ahead, many voices will compete for your attention. Some will sound reasonable, some will sound comforting, some will tell you to withdraw, to protect yourself by pulling away, to numb what feels too heavy to carry. But hear me carefully. You were not created to shrink back from love, from truth, from connection with God. When the heart withdraws too far, it grows quiet in ways that are not holy, and in that quiet, confusion finds room to speak. Stay with me here. Breathe. Let your spirit settle. There is a design over your life that did not begin with you, and it will not end with you. It was written before you knew how to name your fears. It was spoken before you learned how to doubt yourself. The Lord has been your refuge and strength, a present help in moments you thought you were alone. He has not forgotten you. He has not delayed you without purpose. He has been preparing you. I want you to understand something precious. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not overlooked. The timing of God moves with wisdom that often feels slow to the human heart, but is exact in the eternal realm. What is forming now will support what is coming later. What feels hidden now will one day become testimony. There will be moments when you feel tempted to disengage, to step back from prayer, from community, from the quiet disciplines that once brought you peace. You may tell yourself that rest requires distance, that healing requires isolation. But I urge you, do not confuse withdrawal with restoration. True rest draws you closer to God, not farther away. True healing opens the heart, not closes it. Remember this truth that has been whispered across generations. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. He does not turn away from you in weakness. He draws nearer. When you feel fragile, you are not failing. You are being held. You may feel called to stay when others leave. You may feel prompted to forgive when others insist on holding offense. You may feel led to pray when others distract themselves. This is not because you are stronger by your own power. It is because grace is active in you. The Spirit is teaching you how to listen beyond the surface, how to love without condition, how to trust without certainty. I ask you now, do not rush past this moment. Let it settle into you. Let it anchor you. There is a quiet strength being built in your obedience. Each time you choose patience over reaction, each time you choose prayer over complaint, each time you choose humility over pride, something unseen shifts in your favor. Heaven responds to these choices more than you know. You may not see immediate results, But seeds planted in faith always bear fruit in their appointed season. Blessed are those who do not see and yet still trust. Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will rise, even when circumstances try to press them down. I know you are tired at times. I know your heart longs for reassurance, for clarity, for signs that what you are doing matters. Let this be your reassurance. You matter. Your faith matters. Your endurance matters. Your quiet yes to God matters more than the world will ever acknowledge. Stay with me a little longer. There is more I must tell you. There are things unfolding that will require discernment, courage, and a heart anchored in love. Do not scroll away. Do not let distractions steal what is meant to strengthen you. This message has reached you because you are meant to hear it now. Before you go further, I ask you to mark this moment, not for me, but for your own heart. Let this be a small declaration of faith, a whisper that says, you are listening, you are open, you are willing to walk with heaven even when the path is not yet clear. If your spirit feels stirred, if your heart recognizes this voice as familiar and gentle, then respond in trust. Amen. Stay close, beloved child. I am not finished speaking to you. I see that you chose not to turn away. That choice matters more than you know. Many feel the stirring, but few remain long enough to hear what follows. You are still here because your spirit recognizes what your mind cannot yet fully explain. You were drawn, and you listened. Let me speak to you now with even greater closeness. There are seasons when heaven leans in, not with thunder, not with fear, but with quiet insistence. This is one of those seasons. The world will grow louder, faster, more demanding. Opinions will harden, hearts will tire, and many will drift, not because they are evil, but because they are weary and distracted. But you, my child, are being invited to remain anchored. I want you to understand something important. Faith is not only tested by suffering, it is tested by comfort. It is tested by distraction. It is tested when life becomes busy enough that prayer feels optional, when devotion feels delayed, when listening to God feels like something you will return to later. This is how many slowly lose their way without ever choosing to rebel. I speak to you as a mother who has watched generations rise and fall, not only through tragedy, but through forgetfulness. When the heart no longer guards what is sacred, it begins to drift. Not suddenly, gently, quietly, almost unnoticed. Stay attentive. In the time ahead, you will notice a pull toward comfort that numbs rather than restores. Endless noise, endless scrolling, endless opinions that promise relief but leave the soul restless. The enemy does not always come to destroy. Sometimes he comes to distract. He knows that a distracted heart rarely notices when it has wandered far from God. But you were not created to live scattered. You were created to live aligned. When you give your attention to what is holy, clarity returns. When you give your time to prayer, even briefly, peace follows. When you give your heart to God daily, strength renews quietly but surely. Seek first the kingdom, and everything else finds its proper place. When you draw near to God, He draws near to you. I know there are days when you feel spiritually dry, days when prayer feels heavy, days when you wonder if God is listening at all. Do not let those moments deceive you. Even silence can be sacred. Even waiting can be fruitful. Even weakness can become a doorway for grace. Remember this: the Lord does not measure your faith by how inspired you feel. He measures it by your willingness to remain faithful when feeling is absent. Blessed is the one who continues even when the path feels ordinary and the heavens seem quiet. You are learning endurance. You are learning discernment. You are learning how to choose depth over distraction. I also want to speak gently about your hunger for understanding. You have searched. You have listened. You have sought truth in many places. This desire is not wrong, but be careful where you place your trust. Not every voice that speaks loudly carries wisdom. Not every message that comforts carries truth. Test what you hear. Ask if it draws you closer to love, humility, and peace, or if it feeds fear, pride, and confusion. God is not the author of chaos. His voice brings order to the soul. You may feel set apart at times, as though you do not fully belong to the world around you. This can feel lonely, but it is not punishment. It is preparation. Those who are called to walk closely with God often learn to be comfortable standing slightly apart, not above others, not against others, simply anchored somewhere deeper. Do not harden your heart to this calling. Do not trade depth for acceptance. Do not trade truth for convenience. I say this with tenderness. Stay awake, stay prayerful, stay gentle, stay rooted. And know this: you are not being asked to walk alone. You are being invited into a living relationship, one that grows through listening, learning, and staying connected. This message reaching you now is not meant to end here. It is meant to continue, to guide, to remind you again and again that you are not forgotten and not abandoned. If this message is nourishing your spirit, if you feel drawn to remain close and continue listening, then take a small step of faith, not out of habit, not out of pressure, but as a quiet decision of the heart that says, I choose to stay attentive. I choose to keep listening. I choose to walk this path with intention. Subscribe. Stay with me, beloved child. There is still more I must reveal to you, and what comes next will require the steadiness that is now forming within you. Beloved child, remain with me a little longer. You have stayed this far, and that tells me your heart is not satisfied with shallow answers. You sense that what is unfolding in your life is larger than a single moment, larger than a single season. I am speaking to you now from a place of deep tenderness and truth, because what comes next will shape how you walk forward. There is a reason your spirit has felt restless at times, not anxious, not fearful, but quietly unsettled. This restlessness is not meant to drive you away from God. It is meant to draw you deeper. It is the stirring that comes when heaven is inviting you to mature, to grow beyond what once sustained you, to move from survival into purpose. Many people mistake this stirring for dissatisfaction with life. They try to silence it with activity, entertainment, or constant movement. But the soul knows when it is being called upward, and yours knows. I want to speak clearly now about endurance. Not the kind that clenches its teeth and merely survives, but the kind that remains soft, faithful, and open even when the road stretches longer than expected. True endurance is not loud. It does not demand recognition. It is formed quietly through daily choices that no one else applauds. You are learning this endurance. There will be moments when you feel unseen by others, moments when your faithfulness seems unnoticed, moments when you wonder if your quiet obedience matters at all. In those moments, remember this truth that has carried the faithful through generations. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. The harvest does not forget the seed, even when the seed feels buried. I know the weight you carry. I know the responsibilities you juggle. I know the questions you hold that do not yet have answers. And I tell you this as a mother who has known waiting. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting refines the heart so that when the promise arrives, it does not crush you with its weight. God is gentle with those he prepares carefully. There is also something I must say about fear, because it will try to disguise itself as wisdom in the days ahead. Fear will tell you to play small, to stay quiet, to avoid risk, to protect yourself from disappointment. But fear does not come from God. God gives a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Discernment brings peace. Fear brings paralysis. When you feel yourself shrinking back, ask what voice is speaking. Does it draw you closer to trust, or does it push you into self-protection and withdrawal? The voice of God invites you forward, even when the path requires courage. It does not shame you. It strengthens you. You may also face moments when obedience costs you comfort, when doing what is right feels harder than doing what is easy. when choosing integrity feels lonely, when speaking truth requires gentleness and bravery. In those moments, remember that obedience is not about earning favor, it is about alignment. When your life aligns with heaven, peace follows, even if circumstances resist at first. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Not because they are perfect, but because they desire Him above all else. I want you to hear this with clarity. You are not expected to carry the future alone. You are not responsible for making everything happen. Your role is not to control outcomes. Your role is to remain faithful, attentive, and willing. God does not ask you to see the whole staircase. He asks you to trust Him with the next step. There will be times when you feel tempted to compare your journey with others. You may wonder why their path seems smoother, their answers quicker, their blessings more visible. Do not let this distract you. Comparison blinds you to the beauty of your own becoming. Each soul is shaped differently. Each calling unfolds at its own pace. Rejoice with others without measuring yourself against them. What God is doing in you is no less significant because it is quieter. I also want to speak about love, because love is the measure heaven uses. Love that is patient when tested. Love that is kind when misunderstood. Love that remains even when it would be easier to withdraw. This kind of love is not weakness. It is strength refined by grace. When you choose love over resentment, you break cycles that would have continued beyond you. When you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you free not only yourself, but generations that follow. When you choose humility over pride, heaven draws near. Love never fails. It carries you further than talent, further than knowledge, further than effort alone. You may still feel unsure at times. You may still have days when doubt whispers and weariness settles in your bones. This does not disqualify you, it humanizes you. Faith is not the absence of struggle, it is the decision to trust God within it. I am asking you now to guard your heart gently but firmly. Be careful what you allow to shape your inner world. Not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Choose what feeds your spirit. Choose what leads you toward peace. Choose what reminds you who you are in God. Remain anchored in prayer, even when it feels simple. Remain grounded in truth, even when it feels quiet. Remain open to guidance, even when the way forward feels unclear. And when you feel tired again, when you feel tempted to drift, remember this moment. Remember that you stayed. Remember that you listened. Remember that you were reminded of who you are. You are chosen, not for ease, but for depth. Not for speed, but for faithfulness. Not for applause, but for purpose. Walk forward gently, beloved child, step by step, breath by breath. Grace will meet you where effort ends. Light will meet you where questions linger, and love will carry you further than you ever imagined. I am with you in this journey, and I will continue to whisper to your heart as long as you remain willing to listen.